Yeah, what'd you think? What'd you think about that little baby trade that I hit in there today, bud? I'm eager to. Not yet.
Okay.
My finger to your lips. Not yet. All right. Confirmation. Visual confirmation. That it's time. Welcome, one and all, to episode 12 of Drinkin Dynasty. This is, we've got Lou episodes and we've got Luke episodes. This is definitely more of a Luke episode. We are abusing KeepTradeCut tonight. The Walmart of Dynasty football, or I guess the Amazon maybe is more apt, of Dynasty market value reference tools. A lot of people use it. I use it. I'll be honest. I at least look at it, from time to time, just to see kind of where the market is at on different guys. And a lot of people, more than will ever admit it, I'm sure, lean on it heavily. You can punish that. If you know a guy or guys in your leagues lean on it heavily, you can use that against them. We're going to help you do that on a few guys here tonight. But before we get to that, we have our main course. Before that, we have our appetizer. What are we drinking, Lou?
Yes, sir. So today I will be drinking another Texas beer. This is Shiner's Lemonade Shandy.
Oh, love it.
Because today we are shining a light on some KTC values. Also, because when your fantasy draft hands you lemons, use KTC to make lemonade.
Ah, nicely done, sir. What a twist. You literally took my lemons episode concept and made a little bit of shanty lemonade there. I love it. I'm going with Nito Bandito from Deep Ellum Brewing here in Dallas, Texas. A little Mexican style lager with a Mexican wrestler guy, and it's 6%, cool. Which is about as much punch as you're going to get in like a Mexican style lager. So I like it. All right, Lou.
Nice.
Shall we dive in? Shall we talk about the guys that were trying to go and get on the secretly on the cheap, or the guys who are trying to offload secretly high?
I'm anxious to see, man. So let's start off with quarterbacks, man. Let's go ahead and get us started.
All right. So we have an assortment of quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs that we both want to buy and want to sell. So we're going to work our way through them by position, starting with quarterbacks. My first quarterback that I'm looking to either buy or sell is Dak Prescott, who is the quarterback 21 currently on KTC and on Dynasty Data Lab. You've shouted out Dynasty Data Lab several times. I've started to check them out.
Yes, sir.
Cool. It's a very cool tool. So he's 21 on both. This one to me is just rock simple. And I feel like I'm just saying, like, this isn't even a good take, really, because it just to me is like, water is wet, guys. Okay, Dak Prescott was the QB2 in 2019. Okay, so that's pretty good. Quarterback 2. Granted, 2019 was a while ago. He was the quarterback 4 overall in 2020 over the first 5 games before, obviously, the horrible ankle injury that none of us could look at again. And yes, his mobility, his rushing value add since then has dropped off. But still, in 2021, he's the QB8. In 2022, he's the QB... In 2022, he's the QB10 after returning from the broken thumb that he suffered in the season opener against Tampa and the defending champion Tom Brady Buccaneers. And then in 2023, he was the QB3. Prior to 2024, he had not been any worse than like the QB14 per game in fantasy football ever. Several top 8 finishes. Last year, he was the quarterback 19 through 8 games. And some of his peripheral metrics were off. That's true. The Cowboys' offensive line was a big problem. Really, from the start of the year, Zach Martin, perennial all-pro player, ran out of gas. They had lost Tyron Smith at left tackle. It was a major transitional year for that offensive line. CeeDee Lamb was banged up. And the Cowboys just as a whole kind of hit a wall when everybody and their brother knew, like, this is it for the Mike McCarthy experiment in Dallas. Like, he's going to go. Everybody just kind of gave up, including Dak. Lest we forget, like, there was that clip of him on the sideline. in the game where he went down for the season with the hamstring injury, mouthing "we fucking suck" to Trey Lance on the sideline. We all saw that. So, like, to me, I'm throwing out 2024 completely. It's irrelevant. Dak is. He's not Josh Allen, but he is the Josh Allen of two tiers down at quarterback in Superflex formats for sure. Like, he is rock steady as they come for the price. And again, that price, he's back with like Bryce Young right now. That makes me furious. That just blows my mind. So
he needs more respect on his name.
And lest I forget, the Cowboys' issues at offensive line, obviously they didn't really have a true number 2 wide receiver. There was a combination of like Jalen Tolbert and whatever was left of Brandon Cooks. They go and get George Pickens. They use their first-round pick on one of the top interior offensive line prospects in the draft, in Tyler Booker at Alabama. They addressed exactly what they needed to address to prop Dak Prescott back up where he belonged. And I'll be honest, I'm here in Dallas. I've got my ear to the ground of like what the general vibe is around this new Brian Schottenheimer team. I think it's going to work. And Lou, you know me. I think you know me. I'm about the most pessimistic Dallas Cowboys fan that there is on the planet Earth. I am always ready for things to go horrible and kind of hoping that they do. I hate Jerry Jones. Like, I hate the effect that he's had on this team. I think Brian Schottenheimer has what it takes to get the players to buy in, even within the funhouse mirror Jerry world effect of the late stage Jerry Jones Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, I'm all in. Go get him. According to, again, we're abusing KTC. Looking at like similarly priced pieces on KTC, you could go trade Bryce Young for him right now in a lot of leagues, straight up. And Bryce Young is much younger. Bryce Young's much younger than Dak Prescott, so a lot of guys are going to do that. You can go trade Jared Goff for him potentially in a lot of leagues. You can go trade a contenders. I mean, you could trade a lot of firsts for him. You could trade the Arch Manning pick for him, and yeah, they'll take that too. But even if you are projected to go into the playoffs and your next year's first is going to be late, you could potentially trade that for Dak Prescott. Go do that thing. You will thank us for it. I promise you. I'm high confidence.
I think you hit on all the major things. So Dak Prescott is a huge buy for me, whether it's Dynasty or he's going to be a guy I look for in redraft, in all honesty. And going back to Dynasty Data Lab, he's going in the 6th round in startup drafts.
Crazy.
Man, like, you can wait in that draft and get you a very solid Superflex QB as your second option, right? So I don't have much to add, man. Like, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, I think they reestablished the run game a bit. Not great, but I think they patched it up to where it's going to be functional. So I'm with you on that 100%.
The quarterbacks after him in startups on DDL, Dynasty Data Lab, Penix is a couple spots before him at the position. Bryce Young neck and neck with him. Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, Sam Darnold, like, and then it's Anthony Richardson, Geno Smith, Matt Stafford. Like, Dak is an unbelievable value in comparison with all of those quarterbacks. So yeah, for what he's going for, go get him. Who do you got at QB there, bud?
All right, man. So first, I just want to say, man, Dynasty players a lot of times happen to be ages, man. So I want us to just for a moment say that age is just a number. Let's go with Geno Smith right now on KeepTradeCut as quarterback number 27. He turned in a QB 13 season last season, and honestly, I think he can potentially be even better than that at times. He didn't have the greatest season when you look at the stats, but he delivered. But the reason I want to mention Geno Smith is on a new offense with the Raiders, being reestablished with Pete Carroll. You don't always have to break the bank when you need to fill a position in Dynasty. Right now, you can get Geno Smith, according to KTC, around a mid-second. A guy like Zach Charbonnet is valued more than him. I would send Zach Charbonnet in a heartbeat for a starting quarterback. I don't know if that's going to get accepted. I'm just going based off KTC.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say is a lot of times we try to make the sexy trades, like go get, Jaden Daniels, and then you kind of destroy your team in the process. You don't always have to do that. You can get yourself an established starting quarterback and put him into your flex spot, your super flex spot, and feel good about it. He's going to deliver on a week-to-week basis.
If the Raiders as a whole as a concept, as an experiment, work in 2025, it strongly implies Geno Smith will be back in 2026. So you're talking about 2 years of a potentially average, maybe slightly above average per game starter for Chicklets.
Exactly.
I mean, in Superflex, in serious leagues, you can't hardly put a price on that. If you are QB depth away from feeling like, okay, I can really go make a run, yeah, Geno is like, store brand Dak to me in terms of like, is he going to give you QB 4 games? Not very often, but he's not going to give you QB 24 games either. Like he's not going to hurt you hardly at all week to week. So yeah, I love that. Remember the movie? It was almost before both of our times. Remember the movie 7 Years in Tibet? Brad Pitt.
Well, the name I won't lie and say I've seen it.
Yeah, no, it's very dry. Brad Pitt vehicle from many years ago. Geno Smith is almost 35, but he spent 7 years in to bench. So as much as I don't know if you really think about wear and tear on quarterbacks, but I mean Cam Newton had a lot. Matt Stafford has had a fair amount. So maybe he's a little bit younger than his 34 and change shows on
That's
your
a good point.
KeepTradeCut calculator. So yeah, I love Geno on the cheap. This guy I'm shoving out the door, and I think a lot of guys are have him in their hip pocket as like, this guy's on the come up. I know he finished so strong last year, and he did. We'll get into that in a second. But I think a lot of guys are high on Bryce Young, starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. And I don't think they should be. Not that high. So Bryce Young right now now I'll be honest, I figured he was going to be higher than this. I did. I thought he'd be in the teens. Bryce Young is showing as approximately the QB20 on KeepTradeCut right now, while he's the QB22 over on Dynasty Data Lab. So a fair amount of disparity between those two rankings. So yeah, Bryce Young closed real strong last year. But let's look at the whole. We've got 2 seasons worth of mostly starters data now on him, 28 starts. Here's the facts. Last year, Bryce Young, who again is not huge, not a big time runner, what is that? What do we immediately start to think there? We start to think, well, he must be ruthlessly accurate. He must be ruthlessly efficient with his attempts. Bryce Young was 23rd in the NFL in completion percentage in his rebound 2024. He completed 60.9% of his passes. NFL average last year was 65.3, so well off the pace of the average completion percentage. And he was 31st in 2023. He was terrible. 5.98 air yards per attempt for Bryce last year. That was 32nd in the NFL. A couple of decimal points behind Cooper Rush, who completed an eerily similar 60.7% of his passes. So right there we've got a problem where this guy's numbers in his comeback year are dead ringers for Cooper Rush, holding it down for the zombie mode, not going anywhere Dallas Cowboys. That's a problem. Lou, I have a question. I want you to guess, and just for everyone out there listening, Lou already saw this question, but he's going to pretend like he didn't already see it. Lou, guess how many career games Bryce Young has in the NFL passing for 265 yards or more? Off the top of your head.
So I saw you ask me the question, but in spirit of our podcast, I didn't look it up. So off the top of my head, I'm going to say you say in the NFL?
In the NFL, 28 starts, 265 yards.
5?
That is incorrect. Two times in his NFL career to date has Bryce Young thrown for over 265 yards. That's once every 14 starts. That's not good. And were the Panthers way ahead in games, so they were just taking the air out of the football and running the ball? No, they were not. Now, granted, were the Panthers receivers also very bad? Yes, they've been very bad. Very bad. Adam Thielen, far and away the best receiver that Bryce Young's ever had in the NFL. That's really not good enough. Hence, they go out and get Ted McMillan. But the thing that I think is propping him up in the eyes of a lot of guys is from weeks 12 through 18 last year, Bryce Young was the quarterback 6 in fantasy. So, notionally, there were some dynasty teams out there that snuck into the playoffs, had to start him once they finally went back to him from Andy Dalton, and were like, hey, this is actually working out great. I mean, he had a quarterback 1 game in the mix along the way, so what's not to love?
Okay.
Bryce Young is not a running quarterback, but from week 12 through 18 last year, There was only one other quarterback in the NFL that ran for more touchdowns than Bryce Young did. Bryce Young ran for 5 touchdowns over those last 5 games, weeks 12 through 17, actually, of the NFL season. Only Josh Allen had more. Lamar didn't. Jaden Daniels didn't. Bryce Young was second among quarterbacks in rushing touchdowns down the stretch, which we got to keep in mind. The stretch run, weeks 11 through 17, disproportionately weigh heavily in our memories season over season, for sure. So that's part of the effect here with Bryce Young. Here's the problem. 5 rushing touchdowns over that span. He has one other rushing touchdown in his career in the NFL. One. I think he had it in week 1 or week 2 of 2024. So his passing numbers were not enough to carry him over that span. He was hurting you per week, and just, based on his typical passing numbers and what would have been his typical rushing production. He just got shit hot as a runner for whatever reason. Teams didn't respect it because he never did it, and then all of a sudden he started doing it with impunity. They also played some pretty squishy defenses down the stretch. So, yeah, like, if Bryce Young does not deliver in a big way in 2025, major step forward. I mean, he's got, I think, 25 or 26 passing touchdowns through 2 seasons over 28 games. Like, he still has everything to prove, guys. If he does not, I don't think you're ever gonna come close to getting back the value that you can get on him right now. Go trade him for Dak Prescott. Go trade him for Jared Goff. Go trade him for any 2026 first. If it's a contender, hey, maybe you can get him to pitch in some garbage second. I would trade him for Fields and like a first if I could do it. Or
I like that. That's spicy.
Field. I would even go Fields and a second, because is Fields likely to still be startable in fantasy in 2 years? I would say the odds are against it. I really have no idea if Bryce Young will be either. He's not Kyler Murray, guys, where he's just going to get forgiven over and over again because the franchise doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and also he has a howitzer and can run a ton. Bryce Young doesn't have either of those things. Chuba Hubbard, in a after practice interview today, reiterated what we already know, which is that the Carolina Panthers have a mandate from the top. We are trying to go and win the Super Bowl every year. Chuba Hubbard said this 2 days ago in a report, our plan is we're going to go out and we're going to win the Super Bowl in 2025. You can't tell me that that's what he actually thinks. That's the message from David Tepper at the very top of this thing. And if the Panthers come out and go 6-11, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think Canales is going to get fired. I think Bryce Young is going to be under heavy, heavy heat.
I think he's also quoted as saying he's tired of losing. Like the team's tired of losing, if I'm not mistaken on that. So yeah.
I don't doubt it. So anyway, those are our quarterbacks for now, and on to the wide receivers, my friend.
Let's get us started with. Well, let me say this, man. So I might have to join this guy's diet regimen, like maybe a cup of coffee in the morning, a bag of Skittles, and then 1 meal a day to try to get his physique, especially after 12 episodes of Drinkin Dynasty, man. Because I've been throwing down on the beers. So DK Metcalf is a buy for me. Age 27, wide receiver 26 on KeepTradeCut. Guys that are going above him, and let me say this, I understand it because of age, right? But Jordan Addison, Xavier Worthy, and Zay Flowers, I would bet that he outperforms all 3 of those guys 2025. And I know Aaron Rodgers is an older quarterback at age 40, 41, wherever he's at the moment. But Aaron Rodgers, like I mentioned in the last episode, he hyper targets his main options. They've been practicing together before Aaron Rodgers signed with the Steelers, so they've been working out together. And I don't think Devontae Adams is being traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025, man. So I think DK Metcalf is the guy. Oh, yeah. And I think at that price tag he's currently at, which I think you can also get him for a late first. Yep. I think that's a good buy. And you might be able to work out deals because earlier in this offseason, guys couldn't even trade Metcalf. So you might have some dynasty owners out there that might be anxious to just get him off the team because earlier in the offseason, he wasn't an easy guy to find deals for. Nobody wanted him. So I think now that Rodgers officially signed, I think he's going to produce this season. Dude's got paid, and I think he's a great buy at the moment.
I agree that he's a nice high floor. I can absolutely say that much. I think I prefer DJ Moore for a little bit cheaper at the the price. Yes, he's got infinitely more target competition there for sure, but he's only like 7 months older. So it feels like DJ Moore is this ancient dude, but he's only 20. He just turned 28. I think DJ Moore is a better value. But DK Metcalf, how is he not going to get 140 targets? There's no way. They have to throw the ball to somebody. Pat Freiermuth, we love. He can't process more than like 100, 110 targets. I just don't see a way. Like somebody has to be on the other end.
Exactly, and something Rodgers is actually good at is throwing touchdowns.
For sure,
he's good at that. So
like, the similarities between Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, maybe there aren't a ton. But DK Metcalf was a touchdown machine with Russell Wilson back in their heyday together in Seattle. Never was with Geno. It was a much different rapport, chemistry that those two had. Looking at the guys around him, value-wise, like you just mentioned, Xavier Worthy, he doesn't have a path to 110 targets unless injury Armageddon breaks out. Zay Flowers, yeah, sure, he's going to get the targets, but we know it's going to be shorty stuff, and like Rashad Bateman owns the deep part of the field. DeAndre Hopkins is now around. I don't know how much he's got left, but he is a volume threat, at least week to week for sure. Jameson Williams, a lot of guys love him. A lot of guys are all the way in on Jameson. I feel like there is some best ball versus weekly confusion going on there where, like, yeah, of course, Jameson Williams in best ball is incredibly exciting. I still have my concerns season long when you have to pick, where to start and where not. So yeah, like looking at what you can get for your money in that neighborhood of Dynasty. Yeah, I like Metcalf as like a nice high floor. And I mean, hey, he just got $150 million. Like, he is going to be there, and he's going to be the guy for the next 2-3 seasons at least. That's not nothing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers can come and go, but Metcalf is going to reign eternal in the Steel City. Do I have a wide receiver that I'm buying? I don't think I do. So I think we'll go back to you for your next wide receiver buy.
Sure. I have one more buy, and then I'll let you get into your sell then. So, Luke, do you trust me? Would you say you trust me after 12 episodes?
I trust your intentions.
All right, man. I'm going to have you do this, man. I want you to close your eyes as I say this. 90 receptions, 1,229 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 2024. And repeat after me. This is not Jag-like tendencies.
This is not Jag-like tendencies?
All right. So my buy is Jerry Jeudy from the Cleveland Browns, age 26.
Of course.
Wide receiver 35 on KeepTradeCut. So, Luke, he showed up. He showed up last season, man. He showed up last season when the QB situation wasn't great. Unfortunately, it's still not great, but I think we can hope that they should outperform what they did last year, right? I think he showed the Browns organization that he is a solid number one option. I think he's going to continue to do that. So I think at wide receiver 35, that's a great buy, man. Great buy at that price. I think in half PPR, he was averaging close to 12 points a game. So he's a guy that I'm interested in buying at the price tag.
Yeah, if you go back and you look at from like week 8 against the Ravens on, he's a different player. And what happened right around then, the week before, what happened? Deshaun Watson's season ended. So, yeah, I mean, he has completely taken over. He had 8 or more targets in 8 of their last 11 games. He had 11 or more targets in 7 of their last 11 games. So
we'll take that.
Speaking of Devontae Adams, that's Adams-esque involvement. And I mean, look at what all the Browns have in play on offense. They've got Jeudy operating as the one. We're pretty bullish, I think, on Cedric Tillman overall at the price. Deontay Johnson, I just read earlier today, is the heavy favorite to operate as the wide receiver 3. That's got like Antonio Brown in Tampa Bay vibes to me. Like, holy shit, that's your 3? That's crazy. Quinshon Judkins and Harold Fannin Jr., David Njoku still in town. Like, they've got a lot of shit going on there in Cleveland. If they can figure out quarterback at all, could be a special season. So yeah, Jeudy, I love him there. I did not realize he was that cheap. I should have saw that. That should have been my guy. All right, well, you've got the wide receiver buys. I've got some sells. Okay, my first wide receiver sell is definitely my spiciest one so far. It's spiciest sell between him and Bryce Young. My first wide receiver sell is currently the wide receiver 18 on KeepTradeCut. I believe he is also the 18 on Dynasty Data Lab as well. And he was a monster down the stretch last year. Not unlike Bryce Young. This guy was winning, flipping weeks, flipping matchups for people all down the stretch, and got everybody back excited, back to the table on T. Higgins, who after months and months, really a year or so of speculation on where is he going to go, are they going to trade him, are they just going to let him walk? The Bengals do the come out of nowhere to re-up him, and now he's in Cincinnati long term. He's the most expensive number 2 wide receiver in fantasy football. Like, that's not. Have you heard the adage about, like, you want to buy at the bottom end of the real estate market in the neighborhood that you're buying in? That's what you want. T. Higgins is the opposite of that. You're buying the most expensive house in the neighborhood, and it's not the Jamar Chase neighborhood. You're never going to be in the Jamar Chase neighborhood. In all likelihood, you get the most expensive house in a neighborhood where you kind of got to have bars in the windows, and you need to have a Ring doorbell camera out front for sure. Like,
you don't have an HOA and all that stuff. Yeah.
No, Lou, how do you in 5 seasons? I want to ask you. I want you to guess how many times in 5 seasons T. Higgins has had 108 or more targets in his 5 seasons in the NFL. 108 or more.
Twice.
Close. 4 out of his 5 seasons he has had 108 targets or more. How many times has he had more than 110?
Is that a zero?
Zero times. Now, granted, he's missed games, and in other games, very famously left in the first quarter, late in the first quarter, second quarter, with soft tissue injuries. So yes, is that part of the target? Yeah. Black magic there for sure. But let's be real. Like, Jamar Chase is not ever going away. He's going to continue to command 140, 160 targets a season for the rest of his foreseeable future. And like the 2024 Bengals, who would get themselves down by 14 or more in like the first 5 minutes of a game over and over and over again, and then just have to throw themselves, keep passing, keep throwing the ball to will themselves back into the game. For Higgins to return on that kind of market value, for me, you need that to happen again in 2025. And you need it to happen other seasons too, if you're going to stay in the T. Higgins game, because that's how you get any kind of remotely consistent week-to-week production out of him. I don't like that. For me, you can looking at forest for the trees on KTC, you can trade him straight up for Rashee Rice right now. Go and do that. Right. I have like two of these trade him fors are in all caps. That one's in all caps. That's a no-brainer. Dunker, go do it right now. You can trade him for Rashee Rice.
I wouldn't argue that.
I saw Roma Dunze was right nearby. I'm not as. Here's the thing: is like Roma Dunze could still emerge as the number 1 in this offense in the next 2 years. He could push DJ Moore out. Will we want the number 1 in the Chicago Bears offense 2 years from now? I have no idea. But it could be Roma Dunze. It really could be. So I put Dunze as a question mark. That's a bit of a faith leap. Like, you got to believe.
I think based on what we believed in the prospects profile, I think that's the right type of trade to make. But it's because we haven't fully seen it yet, right? But
Dunze could push Higgins to a draw production-wise in 2025. That's in range for me. Again, he's never topped 110 targets, so that makes you vulnerable to being overtaken by lots of guys. So Odunze's a maybe. 2026 first plus. You could probably get more than a first, a blind first, a first that doesn't project to be top 5. You can get more than that. George Pickens plus. I almost had Pickens as a buy. I really thought about it. DJ Moore plus, McLaurin plus, Metcalf plus. Like, all those guys, I'd what do they say? Tear down. I'd tear down from Higgins into any of those guys, plus something else that I really was interested in or needed for sure. So yeah, Higgins for me at his current value, which is very high because of his strong finish, is a sell. Go get Rashee Rice, guys. Come on, let's win.
I love that. Rashee Rice, man. My next take is going to be spicy as well. And And when I mention this name, I'm not saying go trade him. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying at his value at the moment. So I wrote down Lad McConkey, uh, wide receiver 10 on Keep Trade Cut at the
Lou's
moment.
home address will be included in the video description down below. So your hate mail, you don't have to send it electronically and get
people are gonna come at me, man.
Yeah, you can send it in the mail. Don't worry.
But here's the thing. What a lot of people are saying, man, Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball. And I still think Herbert's a great quarterback and he's going to make things work, right? You don't believe this, but I do believe in Trey Harris. I think he's a solid wide receiver. I'm not saying he's going to overtake McConkey, but I think he's going to definitely add to that team. But this is the main reason I put him down as a sell. Guys that are going below him, who I believe more in over a longer period of time, Jackson Smith and the Jigba, I'll take him over McConkey right now.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison Jr., I know people are down on his rookie season. Guys, it was still a really good rookie season. By the way, have you seen how he's bulked up in the offseason?
And we'll talk more about, making excuses for Marvin Harrison Jr. here in a little bit because I gotta circle back to my other quarterback that I forgot about. But yeah, no, for sure.
Definitely. And then the other guy on the list is Garrett Wilson, man. I think I'd rather have Garrett Wilson long term over McConkey. And so based on those names I mentioned, based on him being wide receiver 10 at the moment, I don't know if he's ever going to surpass that value. I think that's kind of a peak for him.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I got him on the list.
I love that. I mean, talk about an unpopular statement. Props to you, man, for being willing to say it because, man, there's a lot of love in the room for Lad McConkey right now.
Don't you send people my address, bro.
I got it. I said that I would. You're not gonna make a lie out of me. But yeah, really, you hit the nail on the head exactly. Like he's the wide receiver 10 right now. How is he? Look at the receivers that we know we have to put ahead of him. Chase, Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Justin Jefferson. Nico Collins, like already he's running out of room. Mm-hmm. He's getting boxed out of the top 10 already. That number's just wrong. We love him, but it's wrong. The Chargers offense, really, we don't know what we're going to get this in a few months, guys. There's a lot of new pieces. Obviously, Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris, Trey Harris, who, yes, you're much higher on than I am. But do they have a role in mind? Yes, I absolutely believe that they do. Armando Gadsden is getting a ton of juice, a ton of hype right now. Like they're really talking him to the moon. This is going to be a different offense than what we saw from the 2024 Chargers. Like for real. Like as much ink as the Broncos are getting for like all their new pieces, Chargers got just as much. McConkey was big fish in a small pond last year. The pond's getting bigger. Pond is getting bigger for sure, so I agree. All right, doubling back to my other quarterback sell because I can't believe I forgot about him. But you mentioning Marvin Harrison Jr. got the juices flowing. Where is? Oh yes. So Kyler Murray, and I know this is going to hurt you somewhat because you've got a fair amount of Kyler Murray exposure.
I do, yeah, but bring it.
Kind of like you were saying with Lad. I'm not saying hey you have to cut your arm off. You got to gnaw off your arm you remember that girl was a werewolf, man. You got to gnaw your arm off to get away from her in the morning. It's not. He's not a werewolf yet, but the argument is very similar to McConkey, where Murray is the QB 15 on KTC right now, the QB 13 on Dynasty Data Lab. Shame on you, DDL. Kyler Murray, I think we still envision and are chasing and are waiting for the fulfillment of the prophecy from like 2020, from 2021, when we're like, okay, as long as this as this development track continues, we've got multiple QB top 5 finishes on deck for him, and it's just not going to happen because he's done nothing but tread water or creep backwards ever since. He's become steadily, progressively more of a yak merchant in recent years. He had a career-low 6.8 intended air yards per target last year. He was 17th in average depth of target, but 26th in yards per completion. So all of his action was happening in the short area of the field. He was not pushing the ball down the field. Yeah. And some bad luck on yak. Marvin Harrison Jr. broke 1 tackle all year. Like that's pretty bad luck for Kyler. But hold on, I lost my. Maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. the added bulk. He's able to catch and run with the ball more. But like Kyler's got a huge arm. He's got a powerful arm. It just doesn't matter if the ball is always hitting the turf when you throw it more than 20 yards down the field. And that's a big part of the appeal with Kyler for sure is the splash plays with the arm and also the legs, where it's also bad news. His rush attempts per game plunged in 2024 to 4.6 attempts per game. He went into 2024 with a career average of 6.54. So that's a 30% drop in his rush attempts per game. That's not good. And like, forest for the trees, the Cardinals are at a major crossroads here. If the Cardinals do not break through in 2025 and the Discord poll that I put up on what's going to happen for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025, overwhelmingly the sentiment was they're going to have a top 10 pick in 2026. They are going to come in last in the NFC West. That's popular opinion. If that happens, I don't know who is going to survive here, but I'm pretty sure Kyler won't. He will be gone. They will move on from him. It will be deemed, hey, we gave it a fair college try, fair shake, just didn't happen. And like, where is Kyler Murray with, I mean, his contract is kind of empty at this point. Like it's not a major impediment, but certainly dragging a dead cap hit for the Cardinals. Where is he going to get traded? That's going to be as good or better for his, or just even as good for his fantasy prospects. Pittsburgh, the Giants,
the Jets.
The Jet. Like it's all bad options. Like Kyler Murray's not going to be given to the Rams in all likelihood. Sadly, he's not. Well, that could happen. If that happened, then I'll back up. But more likely than not, he's going to go somewhere where the team is worse than the Cardinals just were in another failed season in 2025. I say walk on Kyler now. Like, yes, is his value a little bit lower than it was 12 months ago? Yes. I think it's going to be lower 12 months from now than it is right now. And for him, you can go get, again, I wouldn't do these trades if I was getting the Kyler into things, but there's guys out there that definitely would. KTC says you can go trade him straight across for Cam Ward right now. I'd do it. You can go trade him straight across for Baker Mayfield. I would definitely do it. You can go trade him for Trevor Lawrence plus. I would absolutely do that. Trevor Lawrence was a top 10 consensus startup pick 2 years ago, guys. And now he's got BTJ and Travis Hunter for the foreseeable future. Go do that. Go freaking do that. Enough with chasing Kyler Murray's rushing value. Those days are winding down. It's time to get out.
I feel like you're talking right to me because I have quite a few shares of Kyler Murray, and I think we're live at the moment. I guess we can't put this on hold until I make a move, right? No, but as a Kyler Murray owner in a few dynasty leagues, he did finish 10th in out of QBs last season in our format.
True.
Luke, it did not feel like a top 10 QB finish. Right. It was painful. I hated to watch Cardinals games because I'd be going into the second half with Kyler Murray having like 5-6 points and saying like, what the hell? And sometimes in the second half, he'll make it up, but it was just painful to watch that offense at times. So yeah, I'm with you.
Is what it is. All right. So do you have another wide receiver sell, or should it come back to me? Because I got another one.
I do have one more wide receiver sell, and I think we're in agreement on this guy. Xavier Worthy, right? Yeah. Age 22, wide receiver 25. I think honestly, like people are still drooling over his 40 time. I think he's a very talented wide receiver. He's a great tool for an offense. But you mentioned him earlier. They have Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce dropped some weight, man. So it looks like he's ready to start the 2025 season, and it's still a solid option for Patrick Mahomes for next year. And I think we're also forgetting about a guy named Hollywood Brown. You know, there's a lot of tools in that toolbox for Patrick Mahomes to use. So right now, he's going over guys like, I know you might not be a huge fan of his because of injury history, but Chris Olave, DJ Moore, and Ricky Pearsall. I know Ricky Pearsall still has to prove it, but I think I would take the gamble on Pearsall over Worthy long term. I think I've said this before, but Worthy to me is more of a best ball piece. I think he's going to be very inconsistent in your fantasy lineups moving forward. What's your take on that? Because I know you had some stuff to say on him.
No, we're on the same page. Like I don't dislike Worthy, but to me the usage ceiling is very real. And as long as Rashee Rice and Jalen Royals Hey, I think the Chiefs like Royals.
You forgot about Jalen Rose.
As long as those guys are healthy, I think that ceiling is fairly low. Like they have a role for him. It's not a fantasy friendly role in weekly leagues. Best ball, sure. Go lust after him in best ball all you want. But yeah, you said Ricky Pearsall, Chris Olave. Who else did you say?
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. I would trade Worthy straight across for all three of them. No hesitation at all. Even for Moore, who's much older, don't care. Yeah, out on Worthy at his current price. He's worth too much for what he is. Sorry.
Agree.
Yeah. Okay. So my other wide receivers sell kind of along the same lines as Worthy, a little bit along the same lines as Higgins. So this guy went for over 1,300 yards in 2023 and got himself a fat contract after a protracted argument or stalemate, staring contest with his team, the team that drafted him in, I believe, 2020. Brandon Aiyuk, who he's the wide receiver 36 on KTC right now, wide receiver 37 on Dynasty Data Lab. There's a case to be made for Aiyuk at that price. I won't deny that. Keep in mind, this is a guy who was the wide receiver 21 on KTC on August 27th, 2021. The wide receiver 44 just a couple months later, October 23, 2021. That was the infamous Kyle Shanahan PS5 gate, where Brandon Aiyuk brought his PS5 to training camp right after they'd come out, and Shanahan rewarded him with 0 targets in week 1 and iced him out of the offense for a couple months. He rebounded all the way to the wide receiver 10 as recently as February of 2024. So, I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride with this guy. I know it feels like you're selling low. You are, but I think it's time to sell. I think I don't think the 49ers like this guy very much. I don't think that they appreciated the way that he went about his business getting the contract. The ACL tear kind of put some cologne on the situation between Shanahan and Aiyuk, which is that they just don't like each other. Period. And I don't think Aiyuk is fully bought in to what the 49ers are about, what Kyle Shanahan's about. I do not think. Now, the argument to be made in Ayuk's defense is, hey, Deebo Samuel is gone. They did just unload Deebo Samuel, so that opens up a whole chunk of the offense that's up for grabs. True, but is it up for grabs for Brandon Aiyuk? I do not buy that. Aiyuk in 2023, his signature career best season, his ADOT, his average depth of target was like 14.4 yards per attempt. Deebo Samuel, the only time he's ever gone higher than 7.0 yards per attempt was in his psychotic, completely off the charts 2021 where he broke fantasy football. Other than that, he was living 6-7 yards down the field. So the Deebo Samuel role is not going to, if it's going to go to anybody, it's not going to go to Brandon Aiyuk. That's just not realistic here. He has a very specific role, and it is turbulent. It is volatile. He is not a guy who is going to command more than 120 targets. The 49ers don't want that for him. And he's got more legitimate route running, intermediate to deep level of the field target competition than ever. Juwan Jennings is a real guy now. Ricky Pearsall, we're very high on. I think both those guys are better than Brandon Aiyuk. And I think the 49ers are now wise to it too. Aiyuk's got the contract. The 49ers don't care. They moved heaven and earth to go get Trey Lance, and then when they realized he wasn't the guy, they made him go away. The 49ers are about winning Super Bowls. I don't think Brandon Aiyuk is. I just don't. And I could see this ending in divorce by the trade deadline. I don't super think it's going to happen. But if Ayuk's getting 4 targets a game and starts the crybaby shit, maybe. I think you got to walk away from Brandon Aiyuk, cut your losses, and get out while there's still something to get for him. Again, KTC, you can trade him for guys like Chris Godwin. Absolutely go do that right now. Godwin for Aiyuk, are you kidding me? All day long. Cortland Sutton, straight across.
They're not far apart age-wise either.
They're not. Yeah, Aiyuk is no spring chicken. He's 27 and change. You can go get Cortland Sutton straight across. I don't care. Yeah, he's older. I don't care. Do it. Devontae Adams plus. I'll go Devontae and a 2. Devontae and an early 3 for Aiyuk. Hell yeah. I want to win. I don't give a shit. Kyle Williams plus. Kyle Williams is Brandon Aiyuk. Hello, he's an undersized guy who has sneaky, catchy flat-footed speed, and the targets down the field that were available for Aiyuk to gobble up in seasons past, they're there for Kyle Williams in New England. Is he going to hit? I don't know. But I don't think Brandon Aiyuk is. I think you got to walk. Get out.
I like it, man.
All right. Does that wrap us up for the receivers?
I believe so. Let's get into some running backs.
We got a lot of running backs to buy, guys. Get out your wallets.
I'm gonna start this by kind of doing a bundle because I think these guys all fit in the same basket.
Fair.
So, and the reason I'm gonna say the same thing I said about Geno Smith. Sometimes, again, we want to buy Bijan, we want to buy Gibbs,
exactly.
But the impact that can have on your team, it could hurt, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna mention guys like Tony Pollard, age 28 at the moment, running back 35 on KeepTradeCut. I'm going to mention a guy that came back from the dead because I thought he was going to be replaced in the offseason. Isiah Pacheco has not been replaced. He's right now running back 31 on KeepTradeCut. These are guys that you can probably buy for a mid to late second if you need to plug in, according to KeepTradeCut, if you need to plug in an RB into a flex spot or just need to add that extra depth. And both those guys can perform, man. Pollard is an excellent running back. And yes, the Titans are probably still not going to be the greatest offense. They should be better. They should definitely be better than they were last year. And even on a shit team last year, he still performed a RB21 finish. So those are guys that I think are very cheap to purchase at the moment and can really help teams.
Yeah, I really agree on Pollard. There's and the same thing last year. Everyone just it's convenient to say, well, this is it for Pollard. On the Fantasy Index website, which we're very friendly with the Fantasy Index, they're out on Pollard. They're like, yeah, he's getting toward the end. I don't buy it. He was very good last year. Mm-hmm. He was very good. He's from Memphis. I mean, not everyone's into the whole home cooking thing. I am. He's a hometown guy. He was good. The Titans, I don't know if they're going to be better or not. They can't be worse. Pollard was already fantasy relevant last year, and they can't be worse than they were last year. There's a lot of excitement around Cam Ward. There's a real air of change here. And they didn't do anything at running back. Hello? They brought in Khalil Mullings from Michigan. Fucking who? Who is that, Lou? Is that a real guy?
No,
I have no fucking... So they didn't do anything at running back, guys. Go get Pollard. I do not agree with Pacheco at all. I'm sorry. I got to say.
No, that's fair.
Pacheco, don't see it. He's in a contract year. It just hasn't... He hasn't gotten over the hump for the Chiefs. And that's through no fault of his own, but he's in a contract year. The running back I'm about to talk to is also in a contract year. I think something could happen between the Kansas City Chiefs and this guy. So the running back I'm going to talk about, my first buy, is currently the RB9 on KeepTradeCut. So we're talking about a premium piece. We're talking about a big name. He's the RB8 on Dynasty Data Lab. So, yeah, they agree. 133 receptions since 2023. It's the second most of any running back in the NFL. There have been 3 seasons by a running back since 2023 of 75 receptions or more. He has one of them. Breece Hall. Breece Hall, at that price, to me, is a go and fucking get him and just win, baby, win. He was the RB6 per game as a rookie before he goes down with the horrible. Everyone's hearts broke. We all remember where we were when the JFK assassination happened and when Breece Hall tore his ACL in Denver in 2022. We remember all that. He was the RB6 per game, even with Dalvin Cook in his face, causing major volume problems for a good portion of that. RB6. He's the the RB4 in half PPR scoring the following season. Even last year, crap season. His knee was an issue all season. He got outplayed by the guys behind him. The Aaron Rodgers fucking dumpster fire was slow burning for months. He was still the RB17. That's startable. What is the RB17 in a 12-team league, Lou? That is a bulletproof RB2 is what that is. So his floor per game is RB15-ish. RB15. And that's assuming that we're wrong and the Jets aren't going to be one of the run heaviest teams in the league. The Jets beat is saying, yeah, who's the wide receiver 2 going to be for the Jets? Is it going to be Josh Reynolds? Is it going to be Arian Smith? Are they going to bring in somebody? Right now, the wide receiver 2 for the Jets is Breece Hall. It's Breece Hall, guys, and he's going to be on the field a shit ton. Contract year. They're going to feed him relentlessly. Lou, I'm going to say an RB1 finish is in play here. I'm just going to say it.
I will not argue that. Yeah, I love Breece Hall.
It's absolutely in play. Like, go get him. Right now, you can get him for a mid-range 26 first. You know, if you have a first that projects in the middle of the draft in 2026 and you turn that into Breece Hall, it's no longer a mid-range first. It's a late first. So go do it. Send a first. Hell, I'll throw in a second. Sure, fine. Take it. Get away from me. Give me Breece Hall. I'll do that. A Caleb Johnson plus. Sorry, Christian McCaffrey plus for Breece Hall. I'm doing it all day. I'll give CMC and a late first. In a lot of leagues to go get Breece Hall. To go get Breece Hall, absolutely. The guys who can catch 70 balls do not grow on trees. Like I said, it's happened 3 times since 2023. So, yeah, go get Breece, guys. Mm-hmm. Do you have another RB, or should I launch into my second one?
Who's your second? Go ahead.
So I've got a lot of conviction on the running backs. Alvin Kamara. You know the name, you know the whole rap sheet, you know all that. He's the RB22 on KTC right now, RB23. That sounds right. That sounds reasonable. You know, obviously he's, third or fourth on the active touches list all time among active players. So only like Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, one or two other guys have more touches. But he's been Mr. Automatic. He's RB18 or better in half PPR all 8 seasons in the NFL. He's only come in under 55 receptions once in his career. That was in 2021. He missed some games. And he's had over 220 rush attempts in 3 of his last 4 seasons. So, I mean, that kind of per-game dependability, it's the glue. It's the glue of fantasy championships. Like, if I can get Breece Hall and Kamara as the running backs on my team, I'm fucking flying high. And you can do it for very reasonable. There are leagues where you can turn a first and a second, blind first, don't know what it's going to be, into Hall and Kamara and fix your backfield that fast. Snap of your fingers. So I love that value. And that's all well and good, but value is relative. Christian McCaffrey is significantly more expensive than Alvin Kamara. And at this point, I don't think there's any basis for it. I really don't. Like, you could trade Kamara. You could in leagues. In a lot of leagues, you would have to trade like Kamara and a really strong second. A second that projects early to go get CMC. I'm not with that. Like, I'm sorry. I think CMC could be a great piece in 2025. But you just bought him in a league and paid absolutely the going rate for him. Kamara's cheaper, and he's a much better bet to stay on the field. And you can't tell me that CMC's per game ceiling is that much higher. That's the entire reason that he's more expensive. That's not enough for me at this point. Kamara is gold. Go get Kamara.
Yeah, so far his whole basically his whole career, even though we keep thinking he's getting older and older, he's a he's a start and forget it player on your roster. Yep. He's a guy, like, for example, if you're in a league and you feel like you can compete, and let's say whoever owns him starts off 1-2, 1-3. Shoot him a second, see what they say.
Absolutely.
Because at that point, they might not want him on the roster because of his age, and he can help you win a championship.
And never mind, like, Kellen Moore has been very fantasy friendly to the running back position through most of his career. The 2022 Dallas Cowboys, Zeke and Pollard combined for 24 rushing touchdowns. That was with Kellen Moore as the OC. Like, is it going to be that easy for the 2025 Saints with whoever we have no idea who at quarterback? Probably Tyler Shuck. Probably not. But guys, Kamara's the best player on the team. We want good players. Yes. Yeah, Kamara's the best player on the team, so he's gonna eat as much as there is to be eaten. And then I got to give a shout out for Travis Etienne. Like, I know there's it's been a real roller coaster ride, but like I saw on KTC, you could trade. There's who the running back directly ahead of Travis Etienne is on the KTC rankings right now. Right now. Yep.
Go ahead.
You know who it's going to be.
Is it? I'm going to get Charbonnet just because he's been like
Bashal Tootin. No. Bashal Tootin is a spot ahead of Etienne on KTC. What is happening? Okay. Is Etienne elite? I don't know. Probably not. But guys, the Jaguars went and got Liam Cohen, and look at how they got him. He wasn't going to go to Jacksonville. He wasn't. He was telling them, nope, sorry, I'm staying put. Never mind. You didn't do what I wanted you to do and fire Trent Baalke. The owner, Shahid Khan, stepped in and said, whoa, what do you want me to do? You want me to fire this guy? He fired Baalke. Like, he said, okay, fine, he's gone. Liam Cohen has the keys to the kingdom in Jacksonville. They've got BTJ. They go and get Travis Hunter, who, however you feel about him, he's exciting. He is absolutely exciting. Exciting things are happening for this team. A good scheme can paper over a shit offensive line. We've seen it happen before. It's been happening in Tampa Bay for the past couple seasons, where Liam Cohen just came from. So like, Travis Etienne could be just fine in 2025. Now, will he be back in Jacksonville in 2026? I have no idea. But he could go into free agency with a career year or something close to it. So yeah, and for his price right now, you could there's leagues where you could trade Bashal Tutin for Travis Etienne. Go do it. Go get him. You could trade any future second for this guy.
I'm not a Tutin believer, so I like that you mentioned Travis Etienne, man.
I mean, I like Tutin just fine, but like it's clear who's going to be the guy week 1 currently, barring unforeseen circumstances. So yeah, ETN. And then wasn't there a NFC North running back that you were considering endorsing?
Yeah, let's not leave this without mentioning DeAndre Swift, who won the offseason as well, man. So he's gonna be playing for Ben Johnson, reunited. DeAndre Swift is a talented running back. He's a good he's a good pass catcher. He can run the ball. He had a RB19 finish last season. And right now with KeepTradeCut, he's ranked at RB28. So I mean, like off the top of my head, what is that, like a mid to late second or somewhere around that range?
Yeah,
I mean,
early to mid, but yeah, that's
if you need. Yeah, if you need to plug in a running back, man, that's a solid buy right there, man. I don't think, like, people are saying, oh, what about Roschon Johnson? What about Roschon? He hasn't done shit since he's been in the league.
Say it louder for the people in the back. So, what about Roschon?
Right. So
yeah, no,
So yeah, I'm glad you reminded me about DeAndre. Yeah. We did have one sell. I didn't want to leave the. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. Yeah, no, you go ahead. That's what I was going to ask.
We did have one sell. I didn't want to leave the running back section with just buys. And many episodes ago, we discussed this guy, and I'm going to just bring him up one more time. So we were discussing selling him before the rookie draft, I believe, if my memory is correct. But I'm going to mention Bucky Irving. Again, this is he showed to be a very talented running back. But the only reason I'm bringing him up is because right now he's RB7. RB7 on KeepTradeCut. Guys that he's going above, you just brought him up, Breece Hall. I'm going to take Breece Hall on that, man. Jonathan Taylor, if I can get like Jonathan Taylor plus a little something on the side, I'll take me some Jonathan Taylor, man. I love Jonathan Taylor. Hell of a fucking running back. Excuse the language. And then he's even going above somebody like Trevion Henderson, which, don't get me wrong, Henderson hasn't played an NFL game. I believe in him so much that just based on the prospect, 5-star prospect, Ohio State, if I can get Trevion Henderson and a little something on the side, man, I might be okay with that too. So, and I'm not saying that Bucky Irving is going to go and like lay a goose egg next season. He could still be a really good running back on a really good, what we expect to be a really good offense. But running back 7 is high, man. So I think that's a good spot to trade him at.
So that's ballsy. I applaud the balls. You've got big balls this in this episode, Lou. Shipping McConkey. It's the beer talking, yeah. Shipping McConkey and Irving that's brass ones. Irving is so tough. So to me, the closest comp to Bucky Irving in terms of like the capital, the investment that you actually had to make to go get him versus what he's worth now, Kyren Williams. You know, Kyren Williams people got for free in drafts in 2023. I saw it. I stared with envy at Kyren Williams on the rosters of a lot of my competitors. The thing with Kyren Williams, so the thing with these guys, Kyren Williams, Bucky Irving, we tend to agree, we tend to think that they can be amazing in their scheme. Like if Bucky Irving got traded to the Giants, got traded to some shithole organization that didn't know their ass from a hole in the ground, I'd be very, very, very worried right away, and I'd want to move him. I want to get rid of him. But as long as he's a Buck, or as long as Kyren Williams is a Ram, feel good, feel safe, feel like he can keep this thing going. Here's the thing: the Rams' offensive coordinator is functionally Sean McVay, and Sean McVay is not going anywhere. Like he's Presidente for life for the Rams for sure. As long as he's a head coach, gonna be head coach for the Rams. So that's nice for Kyren Williams. Todd Bowles is the head coach of the Buccaneers, and he does not touch the offense in a meaningful way. He doesn't. The offensive coordinator controls the offense, and Liam Cohen, the standout coordinator for the 2024 Bucs offense, did just leave. Now the new guy, John something, I forget his last name. I think John Idzik said, "Don't worry, we're gonna keep everything the same. We're just gonna do everything like Liam Cohen did." That's hard to do. It's hard for a new offensive coordinator, a new guy, to do everything the exact same way as the last guy did and have it work. It's tough. The Buccaneers have a lot of talent in that backfield still. Rachaad White, is he Bucky Irving? No, but he is a guy, and he's a guy who could potentially handle a lot of volume between the tackles. Sean Tucker is a guy that they're purportedly quite high on as well. So Bucky Irving is not fully in the clear. But at the same time, we know the Buccaneers as a whole, as an organization, are absolutely in love with Bucky Irving. They have the utmost faith in him. But he is small and slow. Just keep in mind, small and slow means scheme has to be so sweet. And Kyron Williams has that stability in proximity to McVay that I just don't think Irving can ever have as long as Todd Bowles is the head coach, because offensive coordinators turn over even faster than head coaches do. So yeah, I agree that price. I'm not faulting anybody for converting that into something more stable like a JT, like a Breece Hall, for sure. As exciting as he is, I'm not saying sell Irving. That's you talking. I'm just saying I get it. So, yeah. And then just to touch the tight ends, I looked around. I thought about recommending Kittle as a sell, but it just didn't feel right. He is still the man. I'm going to say Chig Okonkwo.
Yeah, I would argue you on that.
I'm going to say Chig Okonkwo just because I'm sniffing around trying to think who could be this year's Jonnu Smith? Who actually could? I thought about Juwan Johnson, very cheap, very talented guy. I thought about Mike Gesicki. Those are, so to me in fantasy and with tight ends, you basically have two archetypes. You have the above the rim tight ends who can kind of play vertically against their coverage, against their man, and just use length, use size to win contested catches. It's actually hard to do. There's not a lot of tight ends that really excel at that. You've got your TJ Hawkinsons, your Trey McBrides, Brock Bowers, obviously. Those are elite talents, and we all know that. You're not sneaking up on anybody with those guys. So that's what Mike Gesicki and Juwan Johnson really are. Is they're guys who want to use athleticism to get themselves open. Can that be valuable? Sure. It's not predictable, but I will say Gesicki and Juwan Johnson did both just get paid. They both got multi-year deals. So hey, they are guys that I'm interested in for sure. I'm going to say Chig Okonkwo because look at the forest for the trees. Okonkwo, like Jonnu Smith, is sneaky athletic. I mean, Okonkwo, it's not even that sneaky. We've always known he was a freak. He ran a 4.5 flat at 6'2", 238 pounds at the combine. Dude can fly. He's housed multiple long touchdowns in the NFL already. And if you go back and look at his game logs, every year so far, all 3 seasons in the NFL, right at the end of the season, the Titans remember, oh, right, this guy's pretty good. He can play. And all of a sudden, his usage starts creeping up. The thing that's different this time is the head coach and the offensive coordinator stayed in place from the previous season. And now you've got Cam Ward coming in, who I thought about having Calvin Ridley as a sell. I finally backed off of it just because he's already the wide receiver 54. He's just not worth that much.
Yeah.
But if somebody wants him, by all means, give him up. give up Calvin Ridley to go get, I don't know, Cortland Sutton, just for lack of a better example. Cortland Sutton, Calvin Ridley for like value, absolutely. Because look at Cam Ward's track record. He has always spread it around heavily. He throws it to the guy that's open, not the guy making the most money or with the biggest NIL deal in college. He spreads it around. And Calvin Ridley's not a true number one wide receiver to me. He's just not. Okay, so considering that they have the weakest number one wide receiver or one of the weakest number ones in the league, Tyler Lockett, who knows what he's got left? I'm kind of intrigued. I think Tyler Lockett could potentially battle Calvin Ridley to a draw in terms of target share. Would not shock me. I know it's very spicy. Calvin Ridley's getting $23 million. Tyler Lockett's getting bus fare, but Tyler Lockett's a better player. So, and then all the rookie wide receivers, we have no idea. Shamir DK, Alec Iomanor, Xavier Restrepo, Gunnar Helm. are those guys ready to play? I have no idea. Chig Okonkwo has flashed real athleticism, and now he's got a franchise quarterback. And he's cheap. He's like the tight end 30 or something in KTC. Like he's you can get him for like a late third. If you're looking at like a Kate Otten / Theo Johnson tight end room, and you just need another, kind of upsidey lotto ticket, Chig Okonkwo. Why not?
I like it. Definitely.
All right. What's our runtime here, Lou? Are we under an hour? It's going to be close.
We're around that range at the moment, man. Getting close. Did you want to hit on that big trade?
Oh, shit, yeah. Okay, so I've been so in a league that Lou and I are in together where we are both, or we were both, definitely contenders to win it all in 2025. I was sitting on Saquon Barkley. I've got kind of a lot of running backs in this league. Not as many as Lou, though. But because of my quarterback situation, I've got Caleb Williams as my one, Stafford and like Will Levis. I lost Eric Carter retirement. So my quarterback situation is real iffy. I was like, if Caleb busts, I don't think he's gonna, obviously, but if he does, I'm screwed. I need to risk mitigate here. I shipped earlier today Saquon Barkley and Isaac T-Slaw, the surefire stud that he is from the Detroit Lions. Isaac T-Slaw for a 2026 first and second, a 2027 first and second, and I also sent a couple third rounders with Barkley in the trade. So I got 2 1s and 2 2s for Barkley and some roster filler. What do you think, Lou? Give me your instant react.
So, first of all, because we play week 1, I love it. I love it in that aspect. I don't have to play Barkley week 1, so I'm good with that. For value, man, I think you really sold Barkley at a good price, especially considering that you might not have that solid QB2 in a very strong league. I feel like the top half of this league is pretty, including my own team, is pretty strong.
Not so much your team, but other teams, yeah.
Damn, like that. The player that traded for Barkley is trying to make an impact, right? Because we're playing for money. At the end of the day, we're playing to win the game.
That's true.
When I look at Gibbs' team, which he's an awesome member in our Discord channel, his team, I'll be honest, it's hard to give up that much draft capital in a money league. I will say he has a good balance between youth and veterans that I think he could balance it out. And if those picks end up being late first both years, that might kind of bite you in the ass in some ways, right? But overall value-wise, I think you did good. The only thing I will say about this is that I wish, if it was me, I probably would have tried to get a player just to kind of like balance out the picks.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're not his biggest fan, but like he has Ibuka sitting on his roster. I might have tried to squeeze out Ibuka and get that 2027 first. And like,
he didn't ever
for real? Okay.
Yeah.
But value-wise, I like it because I see what both of you guys did, and you can actually – you're pretty good at trading, man. So you can turn around and move those picks, add to your team, and kind of go from there. So I like the trade overall. Gives better hope. He better hope that Barkley doesn't get hurt, because if Barkley goes down, you're gonna be.
He better make the playoffs.
He better to the bank, so he better make the playoffs.
He better make the playoffs, or else he's gonna be on suicide watch for sure. Yeah, I mean, it hurt my heart to send away Barkley. Of course, I love Barkley. Who doesn't love Barkley? But I am a Cowboys fan. That made it just a little bit easier to send away a player wearing that shade of green. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Did I send him away because I thought Barkley's going to hit the wall? No, that's not why at all. I think I'm terrified that Barkley's going to have I think Barkley is going to have 2 more elite seasons. I'm really worried that he's actually going to have 3 or more. And if that happens, then I probably lost the trade. Unless I hit on like a franchise stud quarterback. Granted, the 2026, 2027 classes, decent bets to find one if you have a pick in the out in the lottery. But it's risky for sure. It's risky for sure, but that's you got to take some risks in a league like this where everyone's got their elbows out all the time.
Definitely.
All right, buddy. Well, I would say that it's a mission accomplished. We can hang the banner, like George Bush on the aircraft carrier. Mission accomplished. We have bombed Iraq into no, never mind. Too soon. So we've abused the KeepTradeCut acolytes. We have torn their rosters asunder to hoist our own teams to glory, to championships. Hallelujah. We'll be back next week with another episode of Drinkin Dynasty.
Looking forward to it, man.
Absolutely, baby. See y'all folks next time.
Till next time. Thanks for listening.
I'm hopefully playing music over this.